Hi, welcome to our channel. Today we are going to talk about Crusades and Knights Templar. So, take a seat, because here comes history. At the end of the 11th century, Europe was at a historical crossroads, marked by a series of events that would transform medieval world. The starting point was a plea for help made by Byzantine Emperor Alexius I, Comnenus to Pope Urban II. Alexius, facing the expansion of the Seljuk Turks, sought military support from the west to defend Constantinople, and, by extension, Western Christendom. This call led to the convening of the Council of Clermont in 1095, where Pope Urban II made a fervent appeal to Christians to reclaim the Holy Land from the Muslims. But what motivated so many to heed this call? The Holy Land, especially Jerusalem, held deep significance for Christians as the site of the central events of Jesus Christ's life. Reports from pilgrims and clergy about mistreatment of Christians by Muslim rulers stirred indignation and religious fervor. Moreover, the promise of full indulgence, forgiveness of all sins, for those who participate in crusade was a powerful incentive. This, combined with the opportunity of adventure and wealth, attracted not only warriors but also peasants and nobles, all with different motives for participating. The First Crusade, launched in 1096, was a massive and multifaceted response to the Pope's call. The leaders of this expedition included figures like Godfrey of Bouillon, Bohemond of Taranto, and Raymond IV of Toulouse. They formed a heterogeneous coalition of nobles with varied interests, but united of common goal of recapturing Jerusalem. After a series of difficult and bloody battles, including the siege of Antioch and the capture of Nicaea, the Crusades finally took Jerusalem in 1099. The city witnessed a brutal massacre of its inhabitants, an act considered a holy sin by the standards of the time, yet one that stained the reputation of the Crusades for many. The Siege of Antioch, one of the most notable events of the First Crusade. The city was located on the modern-day Turkey, was one of the most important fortresses in the medieval world, due to its strategic position and powerful fortifications. The city has been under Muslim control since 1085, and its capture was vital to the Crusade success in the Holy Land. The Crusades, led by figures like Bohemond of Taranto, Godfrey of Bouillon, Raymond IV of Toulouse, and Adhemar of Le Puy, began to siege in October 1097. The siege was extremely challenging due to Antioch's robust fortifications, the lack of supplies, and the diverse weather conditions. Hunger and disease were constant, and the crusade faced significant challenges in maintaining cohesion and morale. After months of siege, Bohemond of Taranto managed to persuade an Armenian guard to open one of the city's gates in exchange for rewards. On the night of June 2nd, 1098, the Crusades led by Bohemond scaled the walls and opened the gates for their forces. They took the city after intense fighting. However, the victory was incomplete as the Muslim army Kerbogha of Mosul's son arrived to besiege the crusade within the city. The situation seemed desperate, but a series of events, including the purported discovery of the Holy Lance by Peter Bartholomew, which many Crusades believed to be a sacred relic, inspired a counterattack. On June 28, 1098, the Crusades emerged from the city and defeated Kerbogha forces, securing the city. The siege of Antioch was a crucial turning point in the First Crusade, demonstrating the Crusades' determination and resilience. Before the siege of Antioch, one of the first and the most significant confrontations of the First Crusade was the capture of Nicaea. Nicaea, a fortified city situated in northwestern Anatolia, was the capital of Sultanate of Ran, governed by Kilejis Arslan I. The city was well fortified and located on the edge of Lake Ascanion, making it difficult to capture. The Crusades, along with the Byzantine army led by Manuel Boutamite and Tatikius, arrived at Nicaea in May 1097. The siege began with the Crusades blocking the city by land, while the Byzantine fleet, transported by land and launched in the lake, blocked access from the Lake Ascanion, cutting off supplies and reinforcement to the city. The city resisted the initial siege, but the constant pressure from the Crusades and the presence of Byzantine forces made the situation untenable for defenders. Kirghiz Arslan, who had initially underestimated the threat from the Crusades, attempted to return and break the siege, but was defeated in a series of battles. With no hope of reinforcements, the city began to negotiate secretly with the Byzantines. On June 19, 1097, Byzantine forces entered the city and took control of Nicaea. The Byzantines managed to prevent the city from being sacked by the Crusades, who were frustrated by the peaceful handover and the swift Byzantine takeover, but received compensation in money. The city was then handed over by the Byzantine Empire, according to agreements made with the Crusades before the Crusade began. The capture of Nicaea was a significant strategic success for the Crusades and their Byzantine allies. It opened the way for the Crusades to enter Anatolia and served as a reminder to Muslim rulers of the seriousness and the power of crusade. Additionally, it demonstrated the ability of Western Crusades and Byzantines to cooperate despite cultural tensions and differences. With Jerusalem under Christian control, the safety of the city and the pilgrims traveling there became a priority. The route to Jerusalem, passing through hostile regions and frequently attacked by bandits and Muslim forces, was extremely dangerous. It was in this context of insecurity that a small group of French knights decided to form a militia to protect the pilgrims, led by Hildes de Peñas and Godfrey of Saint-Omer. These knights pledged to defend the pilgrims with their own lives, living in poverty and chastity as warrior monks. Initially, the poor Knights of Christ, as they were known, had few resources and little recognition. They were housed in the part of Temple of Solomon complex in Jerusalem, granted to them by the King Baldwin II of Jerusalem. The sacred site was not only an important religious symbol, but also a strategic position. From this base, the knights could organize patrols and escort missions. The association with the Temple of Solomon also influenced the name by which they would be known, the Knights Templars. The Templars' uniform was simple, reflecting their vow of poverty and chastity. They wore a white mantle, symbolizing purity, and a red cross, representing martyrdom and sacrifice. These knights were trained not only in combat but also in spirit and moral disciplines. The training included rigorous physical exercises, horsemanship skills, and battle tactics. Additionally, the Templars were expected to lead a life of strict discipline, with regular schedules of prayers and fasting. Another important member of the order was André de Montbard, one of the earliest knights and also one of the most influential. Montbard, uncle of Bernard of Clairvaux, played a crucial role in the order's expansion. Bernard of Clairvaux, an influential Cistercian abbot, was one of the Templars' greatest supporters. He wrote the Laude Novae Militae, which means in Latin, "in praise of the new knighthood," a treatise praising to the new order knights as force of divine justice. Despite their noble mission, the Templars initially faced significant challenges. With few members and limited resources, their ability to protect pilgrims was restricted. However, their dedication and growing need for security in the region attracted the attention of important figures. At the Council of Troyes in 1129, the Order of Knights Templar was officially recognized by the Catholic Church. This event marked a turning point for the order, as they received a formal rule of conduct, similar to that of the Cistercian monks, and the support of papacy. The Templar rule emphasized discipline, austerity, and obedience. Members were required to live in poverty, chastity, and obedience, dedicating themselves entirely to their mission to protect pilgrims and defending the Christian faith. With the support of the Church and growing reputation for bravery and devotion, the order began to attract significant donations and lands and resources. European nobles seeking indulgences or out of devotions donated properties and fortunes to the Templars. These donations not only financed their military activities, but also allowed them to establish a network of fortresses and castles, extending throughout Europe and even the Middle East. In addition to their military functions, the Templars began to play an important role as bankers and property administrators. They developed a deposit and credit system that allowed pilgrims to deposit their assets in Europe and withdraw them in Holy Land, an innovative practice for the time. This financial service, along with their growing influence and wealth, transformed the Templars into one of the most powerful institutions of medieval Europe. However, this meteoric rise also raised questions and suspicions. How did a military and religious order accumulate so much power and wealth? Were the Templars truly dedicated to their spiritual mission? And what were the secrets they guarded so zealously? These questions began to arise among European nobles and clergy, some of whom viewed the Templars' growing influence with distrust. The military success and wealth of the Templars made them valuable allies, but also dangerous competitors for other powers, including kings and other military orders. The relationship between the Templars and European kings was complex. While some monarchs, like King Henry II of England, were great supporters of the orders, others, like King Philip IV of France, began to see them as a threat to secular power. Questions about the true nature of the Templars grew over time. What did they really do in their fortified castles? And what happened in their secret meetings? The order was known for its strict discipline and internal rules, which only added the mystery surrounding their activities. Some rumors and accusations began to circulate, suggesting that the Templars practiced secrets or even heretical rituals. Nevertheless, the success of Templars cannot be underestimated. They represented a new form of military and religious organization, combining monastic spirituality with military discipline. This model was so successful that it inspired the creation of other military orders, such as the Knights of Hospitality and the Teutonic Knights. In summary, the Knights Templars emerged from a real need to protect pilgrims and defend Christian territories, but quickly transformed into a military and economic powerhouse with significant influence. The order was founded by figures such as Hugh de Payens and Godfrey de Saint-Omer, and received crucial support from religious leaders like Bernard of Clairvaux. Over time, the growing power and wealth of the Templars raised questions and suspicions that persist to this day, fueling legends and conspiracy theories. That's it for today, guys. There's a lot more history, so stay tuned for the next videos. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates.